Hello and welcome to the March 19th edition of the Thursday Night Thunder podcast with AJ and MMK. This is episode 40 of the series. I'm your host, Adam Jason Sinclair, and tonight on the most hardcore motorsports show on the internet, Mike and I will talk a little bit about the action at Sebring, get ready for this weekend in NASCAR and Trans-Am, and remind you why we are your source for the latest and greatest in auto racing news on the planet. The International Motorsports Association today revealed its 2027 schedules for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, becoming the first major auto racing sanctioning body to announce a schedule for the following season for the third consecutive year. The WeatherTech Championship again features an 11-race season with some subtle changes, while the Michelin Pilot Challenge again features 10 races, but will include a second headlining event in 2027.
Stability remains the name of the game with the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, with all 11 venues that have hosted the series for the past several seasons returning in 2027. The season will start one weekend later than it has traditionally started, with the 65th running of the Rolex 24 at Daytona slated for the weekend of January 28th through the 31st on the 3.56-mile Daytona International Speedway circuit. Daytona again kicks off the 36 Hours of Florida and will be followed by the milestone 75th running of the Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring on March 17th through the 20th.
Both races again will be part of the 5-race IMSA Michelin Endurance Cup season and will include all 4 classes: Grand Touring Prototype GTP, Le Mans Prototype 2 LMP2, Grand Touring Daytona Pro GTD Pro, and Grand Touring Daytona GTD. From there, the series makes its way to California for the annual West Coast Swing, featuring the 100-minute Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach on April 16th and 17th, and a 2-hour 40-minute race at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, California, on April 30th through May 2nd. Long Beach will feature the GTP and GTD classes, while GTD Pro joins the party in Monterey.
The streets of downtown Detroit again will feature the sights and sounds of GTP and GTD Pro machinery on June 4th through the 5th, when the series returns for another 100-minute battle as part of the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. The Saline 6 Hour of the Glen opens the summer portion of the season, with the WeatherTech Championship making its annual voyage to New York's Finger Lakes region for the annual 4-class 6-hour clash on June 24th through the 27th. Watkins Glen marks the halfway point in the battle for the Michelin Endurance Cup. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario brings 3 WeatherTech Championship classes, LMP2, GTD Pro, and GTD, north of the border for 2 hours and 40 minutes of racing on July 9th through the 11th. All 4 classes reunite in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for another 6-hour battle on the famed 4-mile Road America circuit on July 29th through August 1st, which marks the penultimate race of the 2027 Michelin Endurance Cup.
Virginia International Raceway in Alton, Virginia hosts its traditional 2-hour 40-minute battle for GTD Pro and GTD classes in the Michelin GT Challenge on August 20th through the 22nd. After nearly a 1-month break, all 4 classes will reunite at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 2-hour 40-minute TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks for the second to last WeatherTech Championship race of the season on September 17th through the 19th. All that will set the stage for an epic 10-hour finale, the 30th Modal Petit Le Mans, at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia, on October 6th through the 9th, to close out both the 2027 WeatherTech Championship season and Michelin Endurance Cup season.
The 2027 season again will open with 3 days of testing at the Roar before the Rolex 24 on January 22nd through the 24th. The Roar is mandatory for all teams competing in the Rolex 24 at Daytona. In addition to unveiling the 2027 WeatherTech Championship schedule, IMSA also unveiled plans to offer expanded sanctioning to the 5 IMSA Michelin Endurance Cup events at each of the facilities hosting these events. The sanctioned test would be for active WeatherTech Championship competitors only. More information and specific dates will be announced later.
The 2-class IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, featuring the Grand Sports GS and Touring Car TCR classes, will be the weekend headliner for 2 of its 10 event weekends in 2027, as the series tops the bill in a return to Lime Rock Park, in addition to being the main attraction with its 4-hour race at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The FCP Euro Northeast Grand Prix will serve the penultimate round of the 2027 Michelin Pilot Challenge, bringing the series to the 1.5-mile Bull Ring in Lakeville, Connecticut on the weekend of September 23rd through the 25th. The 2-hour race will be the first IMSA-sanctioned race at Lime Rock since the 2023 season. Are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport. Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve your 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. Easiest way is to go to thursdaynightthunderpodcast.podbean.com. There's a bunch of information on how to connect to us there, and I'd advise you to check that out.
2009 Trans-Am National Champion Tommy Dreese. In 2012, champion Greg have excelled at the Brazelton, Georgia-based track over their years, and they'll look to kickstart their chase for the 2026 championship with their sights set on returning to the podium. Dreese has an extensive record of success at Road Atlanta across multiple series. From 2019 to 2023, he finished on the Trans-Am podium 4 times, including 3 runner-up finishes in 2019, 2020, and 2022. In IMSA's season-ending Petite Le Mans, he took a victory in the Prototype Challenge class in 2017 alongside John Falb and Garrett Greast, as well as 2 second-place finishes and a 3rd place.
Greg has his own fond memories of Road Atlanta, having locked up his 2012 Trans Am Championship at the track thanks to finishes of 2nd and 7th in a doubleheader event. From 2010 to 2020, that 7th place run marked the only time that Greg finished outside the top 5 in a Trans Am race in Brazelton, one of the most consistent performances of a driver at any track in the series. Dreese Motorsports Weekend at Road Atlanta will kick off with a pair of optional test sessions on Friday at 10:05 a.m. and 3:25 p.m. The TA class will practice again on Saturday at 9:35 a.m. and 3:40 p.m. respectively, before taking the green flag for 40 laps or 75 minutes of racing on Sunday at 12:10 p.m. Tickets are still available, while Racing America will offer free live streaming with coverage starting on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Following Road Atlanta, Dreese Motorsports will return his attention to Sonoma Raceway on April 23rd through the 26th for the first doubleheader of the 2026 season. To keep up with Tommy Dreese, follow at Tommy Dreese, that's TOMYDRISSI, on Instagram and Facebook, and visit TommyDreese.com.
If you're going to drive a race car at Darlington Raceway, you're going to earn a Darlington stripe. It is a rite of passage at the South Carolina track, not just for rookie racers in their first visit to the 1.366-mile oval, but also for veteran wheelmen who have logged thousands of laps around its iconic egg-shaped layout. The unique red and white scrape marks that eventually appear across the right rear quarter panel of drivers' race cars are Darlington's seal of approval. If you have them, you're doing it right. If you don't, you're leaving speed on the table. Known as the track Too Tough to Tame, Darlington is where drivers literally earn their stripes. It is a delicate balance, trading speed for security.
Darlington is above NASCAR's oldest venues and arguably its quirkiest. Built in 1949 by Harold Brazington, the track has hosted NASCAR Cup Series races since 1950, and Sunday's Goodyear 400 will mark its 130th Cup Series race. Its egg shape, while turns 3 and 4 are definitively tighter and turns 1 and 2, came from when Brazelton plowed up fields formerly bearing peanuts and cotton and purposely shaped the track narrower at its west end so it wouldn't disturb a minnow pond belonging to Sherman Ramsey, the man who sold Brazelton the property. The layout that debuted on September 4th, 1950, when 75 stock cars took the green flag 3 wide for the inaugural Southern 500, is essentially the same layout today.
Darlington's asphalt is aged, and its gritty surface places a premium on tire management, a concept that's easier said than done while barreling 180 miles per hour into the track's corners, where turns 1 and 2 are banked at 25 degrees and turns 3 and 4 are banked at 23 degrees. The Goodyear 400 will be a race within a race. Drivers will be racing each other while racing to keep up with track conditions. The road to a good race day begins Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, with a 1-hour practice before qualifying at 3:40 p.m. Prime Video and Sirius XM NASCAR Radio will provide a live coverage of both. Sunday's Goodyear 400 goes green at 3 p.m. with live flag-to-flag coverage delivered by FS1 and Sirius XM NASCAR Radio.
It should be a good weekend of racing. It's not quite as busy as it has been the past few weeks, but that can be a good thing. There aren't quite as many races here in the state of Florida, which is interesting. Last week they did have some of the the motorcycle events and other things going on. This week they're done with that and they moved on to other things. We'll be writing about some of the motorcycle coverage in the next few days. So be sure to check that out at motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. Are you planning on watching any of the racing this weekend?
Well, since I found that I can watch it on TikTok and continue doing what I'm doing, I really think I will. I think I will. So, yeah. What about you? Are you going to watch any of it? Because I know you do a lot of cool stuff on your weekends.
Yeah, we're going to be going out of town this weekend. It's my 21st wedding anniversary today, and my
Oh,
50th
happy
birthday coming up on
anniversary.
50th birthday coming up on Monday. So it's gonna be a busy weekend. We're gonna be heading out of town. We'll be here, uh, going up to Universal Orlando for the weekend. So we're gonna be doing that. We'll be heading up there on Saturday, back here on Tuesday. So probably won't be watching Must Racing. I would be doing Mario Kart. That counts as racing, I suppose. We're doing that up there at Epic Universe. So that's the extent of the auto racing I'll be doing this weekend or be watching either. So should be good though.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I hope you win.
Yeah, I know that I've never actually played Mario Kart. I've done Mario Brothers stuff before. I've done Donkey Kong before, all that sort of thing. I really loved Donkey Kong when I was little, so that'll be cool to see that as well. Um, so that should be fun. Mario Kart looks interesting. It's one of those augmented reality type rides where you've got the little digital thing showing up on the visor ahead of you. So that'll be something to see definitely, and I think it'd be cool. So I'll
Yeah,
let you
that
know.
sounds fun. That sounds unique. See what I mean? You're always just doing something cool.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to heading up there. We'll be going on the train, going up Brightline, which is 2 hours and 21 minutes from the station in West Palm Beach up to the station in Orlando. So that should be pretty cool too. It'll be a lot better than being stuck in any sort of traffic. Let the train driver deal with that sort of stuff, and hopefully it's a nice smooth ride. Won't have to worry about stopping for the bathroom because you can just get up and go right there. So there we go. Plus, you get
Wow.
to drink on the way up to Orlando, so that's a good thing too.
Well, it doesn't get better than that. A bathroom and you get to drink and someone else is driving for you. How great is that?
There you go. So it should be really good. It should be fun. I know that this weekend is Sebring, but we're planning originally to go up to Sebring for Friday. But after consideration of the fact that we'll be doing a lot of walking up at Universal, that plan did change. But for those of you who are heading up to Sebring this weekend, hopefully you have a good time. The weather's going to be nice. There is a chance for a little bit of rain on Sunday, but by that time, if you're in Sebring, you're not at the track. So hopefully that clears up. But it's going to be a good weekend of racing. Should be there. They started yesterday there, so they had a lot more on track activity today, and they got some more on track activity happening tomorrow. So and and Saturday, of course, is the race, the 12 Hours of Sebring, which this year will be featured on the NBC Sports Network, which is a network that only a few people get. You get that on YouTube TV and that sort of thing now. It will also be entirely broadcast on Peacock. So if you're interested in watching it there, you can check that out. That should be a good weekend of racing. There are a couple less cars racing at the Sebring race than raced in Daytona, but there are also some different liveries and that sort of thing taking place this weekend. So it should be a pretty good weekend. The Porsche has an awesome looking cars. So be sure to check those out there. If you haven't already, you can find that online looking for the Porsche Penske Motorsports cars for Sebring. I'll be doing a little bit of a recap of that next week. So be sure to check that out again on motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. But it should be a really good weekend of racing. Hopefully the Darlingtons goes over pretty well. I know that weather in Darlington might be a little iffy on Saturday as well as on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes for them.
Yeah. I think it seems like NASCAR is kind of having an interesting season.
Yeah, I know that
So,
the main news that happened the other day with NASCAR, unfortunately, is kind of an unfortunate story. Daniel Dye, who races for Crowley Motorsports, was suspended indefinitely. His suspension was effective today by NASCAR. Yesterday was from Cowlick because he made some statements that were plain stupid. Talking about David Malukas, making some sexual comments that really aren't appropriate at any time. It doesn't matter what his preference is. David Malukas is an awesome driver in IndyCar, and and I don't care what his bedroom habits are. You shouldn't care either. It doesn't matter as long as he drives the car and he doesn't involve you in it. That's the sort of thing. And apparently Daniel Dye was not thinking, and so he made some off color comments, and they spread like wildfire, of course. So let's see how that goes. I know Daniel Dye will have to do a lot of soul searching. He'll have to do a lot of things from NASCAR. There's the sensitivity training that they mandate after that sort of thing happens, and we'll see how long that lasts. I know Allmendinger will be racing for Colleague for the foreseeable future. I don't know how long the suspension will last. I know it'll be at least a couple of weeks. So Colleague Racing is a great organization, and I'm sure that Daniel Dye's comments do not reflect on them at all. So hopefully he works himself out and he doesn't do anything else stupid.
Well, that's news. What what warranted the comments? Was
I
he
think the
just
fact that Daniel Dye is a bad drunk is what warranted the comments, and he was online with some of his buddies, and he was making bad, stupid jokes that really weren't funny, and so NASCAR didn't appreciate it. Colleague, of course, didn't appreciate it at all because they're expanding like crazy. If you follow NASCAR at all, you've seen that they have a lot of awesome stuff going on in the truck series, but they're expanding into other series as well. And if you piss off the people at Colleague Racing, you're going to piss off your whole career. It's going to be bad. So he should have been smarter than that, and unfortunately, he's not.
no. Wow. And unfortunately, oh, he said he was drinking, and I think that kind of makes it worse.
hmm So he did issue an apology today. You can find that on Daniel Dye's Facebook page. He also posted on Instagram and all that. So, but it is one of those things. Too little, too late. I'm sure that Malukas will have a statement, or his people will, at some point in the future. And I know that it'll be interesting because Daniel Dye was having a really good year, and he was on the fast track to moving up to upper levels of NASCAR, starting out in the Truck Series, of course, and other and late models and that sort of thing. But we'll see how it affects his career. I know that we've had other issues in the past that have been similar with other people who've made some comments that take them off the fast track and put them onto something else. So we'll see how that goes for Mr. Dye there. I don't think it's a not necessarily a good thing at all for his career, but and for the team. But again, hopefully he works itself out and he realizes that he can't be stupid. Um, not on the fact that he's a public guy now and he people listen to him.
Yeah, you got to be like professional, I think,
Yeah,
on and off the, track or when
hmm
you're in the public eye.
yeah, he made some mistakes and hopefully he learns from those and hopefully it helps he gets better later. But again, I'm not sure how long his suspension will last. It's an indefinite suspension from NASCAR, all pending all the sort of hoops he has to hop through to get back his NASCAR license. So see how that goes.
Oh man, that sounds like a headache for him. Well,
Mm,
it's well deserved.
it
You
is.
gotta kind of have good, better morals, I think.
That's it. There's a lot of racing coming up for the NHRA. There aren't any events this weekend, but is a lot of NHRA stuff coming up soon. They did have a really fast run there at Gainesville. The people running at 340 miles an hour in 1,000 feet. That's insane, but they did have that in Gainesville there. So they are doing really earth shattering type things there with the NHRA this year. So I know that Leah Pruitt had a really good weekend. I didn't see how Tony Stewart did, but I know that Leah Pruitt had a really good weekend last weekend. So we'll see how it goes.
Wow, I guess at what point do you think they'll have to like cap it because they are just getting faster and faster?
Yeah, I think that they thought that not even that long ago that 300 miles an hour was the fastest they'd go. I think the next thing they're looking at is 350, and you never know, that could be fairly quickly when they come up to that. I think they'll slow down after that, but you never know. They're making things lighter all the time, making major advances in the power plants, the fuel, and all that. So I think the sky's the limit. But right now, 340 is insane. I don't think a lot of people can even. You have to really pay attention to the cars if they're going that fast in less than 1,000 feet. So it's something.
Oh yeah, that is something. Because really, I haven't. I think the last time I went and seen, like, watched in person, they went like 311 or something, and even
Hmm.
that was fast.
Yeah,
So that's really fast.
they're flying now, and that's sort of what they're worried about. I think is, is getting up off the ground and having some serious incidents. So. Uh,
They're worried about them literally flying.
hmm Yeah. So that's always something there as well. But we'll see how that changes things a little bit. The next big thing coming up in a few months, of course, is the Indy 500. There's starting to be a lot of announcements about that. I have not posted any of that yet because I think that the posting about the Indy 500 in March is a little much considering that's like 2 months away. But there are a lot of announcements coming out about that now. There's some pretty good things about the Indy Parade that was announced. It's kind of cool. They have actually announced some information about parking and that sort of thing, getting to and from the track, because that's changed a little bit this year. So we're going to go ahead and post about that. Probably we'll wait a couple of weeks anyway, until probably the beginning of April to do that. But the time flies, and pretty soon it'll be time for the Indy 500 again. So
Yeah. Yeah, that does kinda come up quick.
as of right now, it looks like there's going to be 34 cars, maybe even 35 cars entered for the Indy 500. So that would be a good thing. The last few years, they've had some issues getting the 33. This year, it looks like they're at 34 right now. So if that happens, it'll actually bump one person out, which isn't anything compared to what it used to be, but that's still something. So Catherine Legg did announce that she is going to be running this year. Helio Castroneves will be running this year again too. Connor Daly will be running in the race. That'll be his only race for the year. Definitely for Helio Castroneves to be his only race of the year. So a lot of announcements coming out. There's some sponsorship news coming out as well. Again, I'm not going to post that until the beginning of April, and we'll talk about that again probably the beginning of April as well. So I'll have a little bit more details to share with you guys about that. They even reached out to me to apply for press credentials for that, but I don't want to travel that far right now. Not until my foot's totally better. It's getting a lot better, but it's not there. So we'll see. That might be a next year thing. We'll see how that goes. That'd be awesome, but we'll see how that goes. So do you follow any of the build up for the Daytona 500? Now there's a lot of stuff they put out about that, or the Indy 500 rather.
No, truthfully, and don't judge me, but I thought the Indy 500 was in March. So, yeah, but I'm not too far off. It's just my M months. I guess I got a little mixed up.
That's it.
So,
Also, another
but I would
races that
like
are
to
coming up.
watch it.
That comes up in May. It's the was it Memorial Day weekend is the 500 there. So that's pretty cool. That's also the weekend for the 600. But I don't know. I don't think there's any Formula One races that weekend anymore. If there are, it's a different one. I think it might be Canada this year. So a lot different than it used to be when they had Monaco in the morning and then Indy in the afternoon and then the Charlotte race later on. But should be something really cool. And looking forward to that. There's also the Formula E race that's coming up soon. I believe that's either this weekend or next weekend. I don't honestly have a lot of information on that, but I do know that they're going to be doing an all women test, which is kind of neat for that. So that should be coming up, and I'll go ahead and post that soon as well. We might even talk about that a little bit next week. So that'll be cool. Um, there's also some great other things for the Women in Motorsports Month that this is right now that I found out about the other day. Not only the IndyCar and the Formula E, but there are also some good things coming out in motorcycle racing. And again, we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit next week as well. To be a little bit funny about that, the of course, any of you have been following Natalie Decker and her online pursuits lately. She's been getting a lot of publicity. She did have her ask me anything type thing the other day, and explained that the cost of her breast implants was equivalent to 2 sets of NASCAR Cup Series tires. So anybody who's curious about that, just look up the cost of the of NASCAR Cup Series tires, and you find out how much the average set of breast implants goes for in North Carolina. So that's a little bit of news that was kind of weird, but apparently it was important enough for Natalie to share online yesterday and today. So
Yeah, that is very riveting news.
mhm. Big thing in motorsports, we have to cover it. Hard hitting, it's important. Uh,
You're
there
right.
you go.
You're right. That it's literally in the
Yeah,
first paragraph of the show. We
there you go.
all aspects. Mhm.
There you go. So we touched on that, and again, we'd love to have Natalie Decker back on the show again. She's been on here twice in the past, so if she's listening, if her sister's listening, I know Amy there. If she's listening, go ahead and pass it on to her that we'd love to have her on the program. So we won't ask her about the cost for implants. We might, but she's already explained that, so I think we can move on to that. So we might ask her about Bert Kreischer because I that was an interesting thing as well. But and I always thought that Bert Kreischer was cool. I got to talk to him one time. He's a really neat guy, and he's a Floridian too, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that would be
What's
great.
the
That would be great.
it 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 would be. Yeah, I can reach out to Bert Kreischer. I actually do have his cell phone number, although he doesn't respond. So I can go ahead and reach out to Bert Kreischer and see if he'd come on the show too and do a big happy thing. But
Yeah,
anyway, what's your next
yeah.
big motorsports thing? I know it's still a little chilly out there.
So today it's actually 70, but then it doesn't gonna be cold again for the next few days. But yeah, today's been so nice. But anyways, the senior actually start opening, you know, opening up. Actually, I think practice for the main track, Wenatchee Valley Super Bowl begins in like 2 weeks or something. And my nephew's car is nowhere near ready. So
Mhm,
he probably won't make the first practice. But I do have some kind of interesting news. So I don't know if you remember, and I don't know on the program too much, but I might have mentioned it to you in our messages. The track that was like 2 hours from me, or like hour and a half maybe. But anyways, that got it. It closed like 3
mhm,
years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. But somebody managed to, I don't know, work a little magic or something, because they're talking about opening it back up. And what surprises me is the guy that wants to open it back up kind of shared it on Facebook again, or not really going against, but like kind of going with the grain of kind of all these tracks around here. He wants to make it
mhm.
affordable. And anyways, I just think that's kind of neat, because I don't think too many tracks, unfortunately, kind of take into the affordability part. Like, I know the track
Yep.
that my nephew races at now, the prices just went up double, which, I do understand. Everything's really going up. But so anyway, so I just thought that that was really neat that, you know, he wants to open it, but he wants it to be affordable. And I just think that's just a wonderful way of thinking.
That is. Now, hopefully he does well. I know that with the fact that the fuel prices have increased 30% in the past 2 weeks, I'm sure that'll affect a lot of small grassroots motorsports guys too, and that's unfortunate. But hopefully it's a short term thing, and if it's not, hopefully they budgeted for that, and hopefully it all works out.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, it'll be kind of an interesting year, I think, for
Hmm.
kind of grassroots racing too. So we'll see. It's getting ready to begin though. So I'll have a lot more interesting stuff here in a couple weeks.
Awesome. And with that, let's go ahead and make it a little bit shorter show this night because I've got some other stuff to get ready for. Again, big trip this weekend and a few other different things going on. So let's go ahead and cancel that out for this evening. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder by visiting facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. Listen to previous episodes of the show at Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com. Also find it on Podchaser, iHeartRadio, Boomplay, Spotify, Player FM, as well as on Amazon. And you can find the show on YouTube at youtube.com/FourBorePlums. That's FABORPLUMBS. If you're interested in supporting the show, check out the fan club feature in the Podbean app by going to facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. It's one of the pinned things up at the top of that page. Should give you more information. I also invite you to check out my new racing news site at motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. Going to be publishing some more stuff about that and about the stuff going on in the next few weeks. Probably not this weekend, but probably next weekend and throughout the week as well. So be sure to check that out. Again, I've got a lot of news coming out about Indianapolis, as well as other things, NHRA news and that sort of stuff as well. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida, and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise at my travel blog, For Plum's Fantastic Finds, which we found on Facebook at the For Plum's Fantastic Finds, on X at FABORPLUMBS or at PB Happening, and you can head to forplumsfantasticfinds.wordpress.com.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again next week in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing.
Have a great night, and thanks again.